This is a playthrough of Tower of the Sorcerer from floors 21 through 40. After clearing the second boss on floor 20, we go up through these somewhat empty levels. A few of the rooms have bosses we'll fight later, but the other ones are kind of just filler. And this challenge here is somewhat comical because it's like to get ahead we have to fight the monsters, but they're all really weak little dweebs that we've beaten up many times before that pose no threat. This is really the main start of the next level. And when we get to floor 32, right away, this golden knight comes up and challenges us. We can't walk away, it's automated. And once we beat him, he slinks away. And we have to trade a lot of life to get to this point. But it's going to pay off when we pray at this altar. We're going to pray 2 times for defense. And with over 100 defense, we can clear out the rocks and the priests from the earlier level. Zombie knights we won't be able to kill without taking damage right now, but our goal is to farm up gold to pray at the altar again for defense. So on our second trip back, we'll be able to fight the zombie knights. There's going to be a lot of cleanup and busy work, kind of downtime going on. So once we get to 320 gold, we can pray at the altar again. Gonna fly back up. This is our third defense prayer at this altar. This strategy hits a lot of key defensive breakpoints where we can fight monsters without taking any damage. Eventually we will have to pick some battles where we're giving up health. But that's mostly just to get the sword and the shield on the 30th-ish floors. This octopus monster we're going to be fighting soon. It's going to have a special item drop called the Mattock. And this item, it removes any adjacent walls. And that's going to allow us to access our choice of one of 4 loot options in a later floor. So there's this big room with all these stat crystals, health potions, and other items. But they're all blocked off by walls that you can't open with keys. There's no doors to them. And the way to get it is to use this Mattock item. But the room is set up so you can only break down a wall to access one of the 4 chambers. And so you have to pick which option you prefer. And this playthrough will choose to go for a room with stat crystals. And it exactly brings our offense high enough to one-hit one of the swordsman characters that are fairly difficult to fight later on. I think it's an interesting choice because there's another chamber in that room with all the goodies that has another special item called the bomb, and that allows you to access a secret shield on the floors above 40, which we don't get to this in this play through portion. But it's a really great shield that deflects magic attacks. And you can get it fairly early upon entering floor 41. So this approach, it skips that item for now, and it's going to get it later on by spending an investment of 3,000 gold for another item called a Super Mattock, which instead of destroying one wall section next to you, it will destroy all walls within the room that you're in. So we won't have to skip out on that item, we'll just kind of delay getting it until later. But it does mean that we'll have to save up a lot of gold before getting to that point. And another consequence of that is we'll have to get that gold before getting access to an item called Lucky Gold. Lucky Gold, what it does is once you have it, any monsters you kill will drop twice the amount of gold that they normally do. So this strategy really prioritizes getting gold early to pray at the altar and get stats, and it forfeits that double gold incentive later on. We're a little bit short of getting our next defensive prayer at the altar. So we're going to kind of roam around for easy targets, vulnerable victims. And I think at this point I'm going to go all the way back down to the newbie levels and find some kids to beat up for lunch money. So these are little kids in skeleton costumes. They're out trick-or-treating on Halloween, and we're going to stop them and beat them up, take their UNICEF money. Okay, this is our last prayer for this level. From now on, we're going to be saving up gold. Swordsmen do a lot of damage. Can't even fight them because they'll kill us. So we're going to take this long way around. If we were to open the top right door and go straight for the sword, it's pretty clear there's going to be some trap involved. And when we get to the room with the 2 soldiers and 2 ghost soldiers, the openings get sealed and we'll have to fight those guys before exiting. So this way we go around and we'll have that sword to fight with. On our way out. So how we cleared that section and getting the sword was one of the advantages of this playthrough, the strategy. By getting the defensive stats early and taking the long way around to the sword, we save a lot of health in that fight with the 2 ghost soldiers and 2 soldiers after getting that sword. On other playthroughs many times I've gone directly for that sword and it's really expensive on health. So this is one of the rooms we have to visit before moving on, because on the bottom right, the thief that helped us escape earlier is going to help us get around a dragon that we encounter on a floor higher up. The dragon is too dangerous to fight, and without him, without the thief, there's no way around him. But after talking to the thief, he'll help us dig a tunnel that gets around the dragon. The priest guy in the middle right, when you talk to him, he increases your stats by 3% of what you already have. So we're going to save that boost for later when our stats are higher. I'm going to skip it for now. And the merchant gave us 1,000 gold to work with. So we got the sword. We can move on ahead to look for the shield. This is the tunnel that the thief digs for us to get around the dragon. Now this room is interesting because there's many ways to go through it. Depending on how you aligned your stats, whether you went offense or defense, the optimal way through it changes. So because our defense is high, we can fight the usual monsters we've been encountering. But in a situation where you pray for offense, you can one-shot those swordsmen. And in that case, your defense will be low, and actually the zombie knights will be dealing damage. But as you can see, this room has a lot of secret pathways. In each of the 4 corner sections, there's a secret passage. and allows you to choose which monsters you want to fight. This is the room with all the goodies, and we're going to be accessing the bottom right chamber with those stat crystals. The bomb item was on the top left chamber. It was a little blue ball thing. So when we get to this point, we've expended most of our keys, and talking to that merchant gives us a great deal on keys. It's 200 gold for 3 yellow, which is a bargain to say the least. Even if we didn't need those keys, we could sell gold keys at 100 apiece, so there's really no reason not to get that bargain. The reason we went all the way around to get the shield is it's kind of clear by now that this game doesn't let you just get things very easily without there being some kind of horrible trap. So if you were to walk directly into the shield room, that opening will close up behind you and you'll have to go through 3 blue doors to get out. And if you don't have 3 blue keys, well, tough luck, you're going to be stuck there forever. So you have to reload the game. But we went through the bottom, kind of yoinked out the shield and ran away. Having the shield and the sword gives us a lot of stuff for free now. And we have the confidence to fight some of these monsters. That still do a little bit of damage, but we're gonna need to get some stat crystals before moving ahead, so. Time to farm the octopus. The octopus is an interesting monster because it's so big that you can fight parts of its body and not kill it. But if you attack the head right away, then the rest of the body dies. But each part of the body, it gives us the same amount of gold as attacking the head. So this way, once we can armor up that it doesn't hurt us at all, we can fight all parts of the octopus before killing the head. And it'll give us some extra gold to work with. Doing these fights with high armor and low offense is a very slow affair. In fact, for one of the high scores, there's a boss, one of the final bosses, that you can fight dealing something like 10 damage to it each time. But your armor is just enough so that it deals no damage to you. So if you're really keen on getting a very high score, I think there may be a situation where you have to wait like 20 minutes for the fight to end because of how slow it takes for you to kill something. But that's not necessary at all. That's only if you absolutely want to, you're just obsessed with getting the most out of everything. You can always just pick up a sword after a different fight and then kill the monster much faster. But doing it a really slow way is an option. So it is possible to hit something for like no damage, but eventually deal enough to kill it. These red knights still hit us for a little bit. They kind of scratch, but they really pose no threat. We're looking for one more red crystal to get an offense to 150 before we can fight those swordsmen and get some free blue crystals. So on the next floor, there's a blue door that will hold a red and a blue crystal. Gonna fight these red knights to get there. But they don't pose much of a threat. This room contains a special item. When you open the two doors on the top and the right, it appears in the center. And this is a warp item that switches your position from where you are in the room to the opposite side. So for example, where I'm standing around the top right now on the top right, if I were to use that item, it would shift me to the bottom left. It's a very useful item, and we're going to use it right away on floor 41 once we beat this section. So we don't get to see it in this part, but we will coming up. Alright, it looks like we're ready to move on to the boss. All we need is a red key to access. And doing this takes 8 yellow keys. Once we kill all the monsters, the red key will appear in the section on the left. And we also get back 4 yellow keys. Final thing left to do is to check our health. So on the stat board it says that nothing will deal damage to us, but that's not quite true. Once we enter that room, this fight has this little twist to it. instead of us getting to attack first, the monsters will come to us. We will be standing still and they will get the first hit in. So even though those swordsmen, when we attack them, they don't hit us for any damage. When they attack first, they're going to do a significant portion of our health. So I just need one health potion, and I'm fishing around to see where I can find a small health potion. I don't want to get all the health potions because after I beat this boss in the next section, there's going to be a magician, which is going to hit me for half my health total. So I want to keep my health total as low as possible after beating the boss. That way I lose less to the attack of the magician. And then once I bypass the magician's attack, I can go back and pick up all those health potions. So accessing that room with those stat crystals, using that Madoc to access the chamber with the stat crystals, really makes a big difference in this fight, because it puts us at key breakpoints where the enemies don't do damage to us. So you can see the Red Knight, his offense is just barely negated by our defense, and our 150 attack just manages to one-shot kill the swordsman. So there you have it, floors 20 through 40. We've gotten a lot of gold saved up for the special Super Metok item coming up. We have this warp special item, and we've cleared out most of the gold in the lower section, most of the monsters, and we've done that by getting defense first, praying 3 times at the altar, and we've gotten our offense just enough so that we can get by here, killing enemies as efficiently as possible. So the next floor is coming up. We'll be fighting a lot more magic monsters, and we'll be still continuing our strategy of getting our defense high enough that monsters won't be able to kill us. So a lot of interesting items to be seen in the next stages, and we'll be able to splurge with all the gold that we've saved up.